A Prime Minister hiding, an ambassador sake. Dan Jeffrey Epstein's. Name going through Westminster. This week delivered the Kindoff. Parliamentary destruction, that en scary eres Kemi Badenoch SHREDS. At the dispatch box and systematically dismantled Keir Starmer's credibility, piece by piece. Not with cheap OTS, with facts, with questions she can't answer, with a scandal he can't escape. Peter Mandel so now was appointed U.S. ambassador, despite Edocum ented Tiesto Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted child sex offender, a man who trafficked minors. Everyone knew about the C connections. The security services knew the Foreign Office KN, the media had reported it for years. Yet the armor pushed the appointment through anyway. Then when pressure mounted, when the evidence became impossible, Toinor Mandelson was sacked. Buthers, what makis is a crisis rat herthan just a mistake. Starmer still won't explain why he made it. That appointment won't publish the vetting files, won't apologize to victims, won't take responsibility. Badenoch didn't waste the time with pleasantries. She opened with the 3 non-negotiable demands: publish the Mandelson-Epstein files in full, every email, every briefing, every security warning. That was deliberately ignored. Second, apologize directly to Epstein's victims. Real people endured realibus while political elites protected their own. Third, someone must take a responsibility, not junior ministers ready and prepared statements. The Prime Minister himself. But Starmer wasn't even thought. He sends others to defend the indefensible while he stayed away from Parliament. That pattern isn't unmistakable. Hide when pressure builds. ODG. When questions get difficult, blame oath earth. When truth emerges, Badenoch na meditexa, a prime minister with no courage, no judgment, no backbone. The numbers tell their own brutal story. Labour's frustrating collapsed 29% in the latest polling. That's catastrophic for a government. Barely a year old protests grew outside Downing Street overnight. Not professional activists, ordinary people, parents angry their taxes fund this mess. War. Arcos furious. The light play by different rules. Pensioners disgusted that integrity was just another campaign. Social media repeated with accountability demands, not just from traditional opposition supporters site. Her Labour voters are returning. The comments' actions are savage. The memes brutal. The Angie are real because this connects to everything else going wrong under this government. Pensy. Owners lost winter fuel payments, so the government could fund luxury hotels for illegal immigrants. NHS waiting list shit record high. Zabu. Hile ministers attend exclusive parties. Familia scoos between heating and eating. Why the political elite network with convicted criminals. The contrast couldn't be sharp. Eran people aredoni pretending not to be sin otits Badenoch presse. The vetting, questio and hard 3 possibilities existand aloft. Hemdam Starmer first security services co-MP lately failed. But nobody believes MI5 miss, said Mandelson's Epstein connections. Went air documented public knowledge. That's not how intelligence vetting work, sat this leave L's second possibility advisors. Hid critical information from the Prime Minister. If that happened, it's incredibly serious. Which it v sir was it? Why haven't they been fired? Why have they resigned? Why is nobody taking responsibility? The silence on these questions is deafening. Third, and most likely Starmer knew everything and appointed Mandelson. Anyway, reports now confirm he overruled direct sec. Unity advice. Multiple sources say they warni. NGS were crystal clear and ignored them wide. Why? Because Mandelson has connections, opens the doors, knows the right people. Protecting that club mattered more than protecting standard. That's not leadership. That's complicity in maintaining an elite system. That puts inside RS first and everyone else last. The timeline absolutely destroys any remaining defense Starmer might attempt. Last Wednesday at Prime Minister's questions, he stood at that summit dispatch box expressing full confidence in his ambassador. Labour MP cheered, they clap. PED they celebrated their man-holding firmu under pressure, but Starmer already kniwabo to the compromising emails at that point. He'd be Ian fully briefed. He had all the information and Heko said to mislead Parliament anyway, each at Ways and Thone's mistake. That was a calculated decision to protect a political ally over being truthful to the British public when more evidence emerged days later when the appointment became completely untenable. Did Starmer come back to apologize for misleading the House? Did the show an ounce of contrition? No he disappeared while junior ministers wears in tutocally enough hismiss with carefully scripted non-answers. Morgan McSweeney's roller. ISA 7 more disturbing questions. Mere Chief of Staff reportedly spent hours on the phone with Mandelson last week hours. At the same time, Mandelson was actively dodging urgent calls from Foreign Office officia ls who needed answers about the emerging scandal. What were they discussing for hours? Why waste the Prime Minister's most senior advisor prioritizing damage control for Mandelson over transparency with government officia ls who desperately needed information? That's no how honest government operates. That's cover-ups work. Labour Minister now desperately claim new information cametolite information they supposedly didn't have before information that changed everything. But Hetty line completely contradicts that narrative. Mandelson's Epstein connections, we rent secret intelligence, they were documented mainstream media for years, discussed op, Enley reported extensively. The idea that's op, histicated government vetting somehow, Miss Seda Loftus is beyond absurd, it's insulting. Getio Anyone paying attention. Badenoch Meto Dikely laid out the broader pattern. An anti-corruption minister sacked for corruption, a housing secretary sacked for Ojin, housing tax a transport secretary sacked F or fraud. Now a youth ambassador sacked 40est o a convicted child sex offender. This isn't to be a deluxe, this isn't coincidence. This is systematic failure at the most basic level of governance. A government that fundamentally cannot vet its own appointments properly, that ref uses to hold anyone to consistent standards, that protects political insiders while lect uring everyone else about integrity and ACC accountability. The victims deserve so much better than this. Women and girls were abused by Epstein and his network of enablers. These are via genuine apology. They deserve a government not that because they're suffering seriously instead of treating it as a political inconvenience. Instead, they got a Prime Minister who appointed someone directly connected to the Irabusertuni of Britain's most prestigious and sensitive diplomatic positions, then defended that decision publicly until the pressure became absolutely unbearable. Where's the apology to those victims? Where 7 Bay sick acknowledgement of the pain this causes the international diplomatic damage spread, faster everyday Trump's administrational ready questioning the appointment in public, see statements, crucial trade negotiations, alling because Washington won't work profess, cyanally with someone carrying this kind of baggage, Britain charderned reputation to king serious shits from allies who simply cannot believe in this decision was made, the species all relationship. Everyone talks about prote sitting isn't looking so special right now, not hen your ambassador to the most important vicarious connections to one of historismo. Est notorious child sex offenders labor back, benchers feel the heat intensely now, constituency offices getting flooded with angry calls and emails, town halls becoming hostile, environments, constituents asking impossible questions that have no good answers. How exactly do you defend this appointment? How do you possibly explain voting confidence in someone with the documented connections? How do you look victims' families directly in the end claim your party did the right thing? You simply can't. The painful silence from Labour benches during Badenoch's entire resp show. They understand this exactly. Badenoch asked directly about Tony Blair's potential influence. Did Mandelson's powerful old network pull strings behind the scenes? Was this fundamentally about rewarding decades of loyalty over actual merit and security? The minister responding couldn't answer or wouldn't answer. Either the way silence speaks absolute volumes about how decisions really get made in this government. The entire vetting process now needs comprehensive independent review, end-to-end investigation. How did someone with Mandelson extensively documented see on connections, possibly gets security clearance, for such an incredibly sensitive diplomat ICROL intelligence services don't make as well procedural errors at this stratospheric level, which logically means either they full agad serious concerns and were systematic ally overruled by politicians, or the entire process was corrupted and compromised from the very start. Neither option is remotely acceptable for a functioning democracy. Think about the implications for every single other sensitive appointment this government has made. If they couldn't properly vet the U.S. ambassador, what about other critical positions? National security advisors, senior intelligence chiefs, senior defense officials. How deep